Hi again. This is the Darling Part 2. Wasn't quite finished pointing out some of the things that I hope you notice in the text, though certainly I want you to notice more things than I'm talking about. But I've scrolled forward into the short story after the veterinarian has chastised her for stating opinions that are not her own, or talking about something she has no expertise on, which is just amazing to her. Then he leaves, and she falls into the deepest despondency. And so the two paragraphs on the screen before you um, really drive home this point that there is nothing in Olenka that allows her to draw any opinions of her own, or thoughts of her own, or identity of her own, sense of purpose of her own. She's set up. I mean, she doesn't have to work for a living. She doesn't have to strive to survive. And so she has all this time on her hands to grow increasingly despondent and bitter and unhappy. So check this out. So Chekhov writes about Olenka, and what was worst of all, she had no opinions of any sort. So she sees the same objects and things that she has seen her entire life, but she can draw no conclusion. She doesn't draw a conclusion about what it means. And then when she had a male counterpart in her presence, she could explain, give her opinion about anything, because she was drawing her opinion from her counterpart. But now, on down the paragraph, there was the same emptiness in her brain and in her heart as there was in her yard outside, and it was as harsh and bitter as wormwood. Chekhov describes Alenka's aging and the town growing, but Alenka doesn't grow along with that. She grows physically. Chekhov says she grows plain and elderly. She's not this same fragile and beautiful little darling of her youth. And she can remember and have this tender ache in her heart and cry, and her eyes brim with tears, but she's overcome with the sense of futility of life. If she cannot love, she does not have purpose, and she can't transfer that love to the little black kitten. She's I guess abusive, but she rejects the love of the pet. In this part, she wanted a love that would absorb her whole being, her whole soul and reason, that would give her ideas and an object in life, and would warm her own blood. So an object could mean an objective, but in this context, it also most certainly fits the idea that whoever Olenka is in love with is an object for transference of her own identity, that she becomes whoever that person is. And I guess I've lost my little line, wherein Chekhov says again that just her heart and her life just filled with bitterness without identity of her own. Of course, the veterinarian comes back on the scene some years and years later, and this is like a transformation for Alenka, and she becomes vibrant and full of life again, and gay and joyous. Anyway, I'm trying to keep this one just a little bit shorter, but I wanted you to notice that kind of powerful scene in its hollowness and emptiness, as driving home part of this point that Chekhov is making. Now, the question is up to you. Is this a picture of womanhood that Chekhov feels sympathetic toward, or is he mocking, or does this story make a statement to early modern audiences, 1899, remember, about the overwhelming need for women to have their own sense of purpose and identity, and cultivate their own minds, and so forth. Well, I'll look forward to seeing what you have to say in your paper. Thank you. Bye bye.